Hello and welcome back to Fun with History. In this unit, we will study the period between 1918 and 1939, also known as Interwar period. It wasn't a peaceful period. There were new conflicts and events that led to World War II, such as the rise of right-wing totalitarianism in countries such as Italy or Germany, the communism in the Soviet Union, the Wall Street crash, and the Great Depression. In this video, we will study 4 points: the Weimar Republic in Germany, the Roaring Twenties, the Wall Street crash and the Great Depression, and finally, the rise of totalitarianism. As we have studied in the former unit, when Kaiser Wilhelm II realized that Germany had lost the war, he abdicated and left the power in the parliament hands and its chancellor Friedrich Ebert, the leader of the SDP, the Social Democratic Party. He immediately surrendered to the Allies. In 1919, the Weimar Republic was established. It had a progressive constitution that gave the vote to all men and women over 20. From the beginning, the Republic had many enemies within Germany. Right wing blamed the government for signing the Treaty of Versailles, while left-wing groups were angry for ending a communist revolution in Germany after the war. Both wings organized coups against the government, and the country faced serious economic problems. It had borrowed money to pay the war and had to pay the reparations to the Allies. In 1923, when Germany couldn't pay, France occupied the most industrial area in Germany. The government then encouraged the workers to go on a strike and printed lots of money. The strike meant that fewer products were manufactured, so prices rose, and soon inflation was out of control. In January 1923, a loaf of bread cost 250 marks. By November, it cost 200 billion marks. This is known as hyperinflation. Gustav Stresemann organized a coalition of moderate pro-democratic parties in the Reichstag, ended the strike, and persuaded France to leave Germany and introduce a new currency. He also introduced many reforms to help ordinary people, such as better housing or unemployment benefits. For the next 5 years, the German economy recovered. This period is known as the Golden Age of the Weimar Republic. In 1926, Germany was allowed to join the League of Nations. The 20s were a period of high economic growth in the United States. It was also a time of social change. People live in cities, listen to the radio, spend time dancing and having fun, or even watching movies. Hollywood produced 800 movies a year. Think that nowadays it produces between 400 and 500. Wages rose and mass production made products cheaper, so more people could afford buying consumer goods such as telephones, washing machines, or vacuums. Companies provided credit, which means that people could pay for expensive products gradually. It is also the period of prohibition. Since 1920, it was illegal to produce or sell alcohol. Criminals took then over the supply of alcohol and organized crime increased. Many people in the United States became rich in the 20s, but there were also problems. Farmers were producing too much food, so prices fell, and farmers grew poorer. Inequalities grew. Wages grew much more slowly than profits, and share prices were too high due to speculation. It was necessary to reduce the high production of products that caused the fall of prices, but the consequence was that many workers lost their jobs. People worried about economy began to sell the shares. In October 1929, share prices fell. The Wall Street crash caused panic and more people sold their shares. Private investors and companies had borrowed money to buy shares, and now they couldn't pay their debts, so a few banks were bankrupt. Customers of these banks lost their savings. People then lost confidence in the banks and tried to withdraw all their money, but the banks couldn't give everyone their money at once, and most of them went bankrupt. It was a vicious circle. People had lost their jobs or savings. Demand of products fell. Production continued being reduced and more people lost their jobs. Many people in America became homeless, lived in slums called Hoovervilles, named after the President Hoover. This economic crisis that lasted 10 years was called the Great Depression and spread all over the world. When Roosevelt was elected president in 1932, he implemented new measures to end the Depression, known as the New Deal, and included paying farmers to produce less so prices could rise, building infrastructure such as roads to improve employment, or the introduction of pensions and unemployment benefits. During the interwar period, many people joined left or right-wing groups because they promised to transform society. These groups form paramilitary organizations that provoke street battles. Right-wing totalitarian leaders took power in many European countries such as Italy, Germany, Spain, Austria, Hungary, Poland, etc. Meanwhile, left-wing groups were divided in communists, anarchists, and democratic socialists, and often fought between them. In Italy, Benito Mussolini formed the Fascist Party in 1919. He promised to make Italy great again, to rebirth the Roman Empire. They had a paramilitary organization called the Black Shirts, which fought in the street battles against communists. In 1922, the king, afraid of a civil war, invited Mussolini to become the prime minister. Mussolini used the Black Shirts to eliminate the political opponents, and in 1925 declared himself Duce, what means leader, and became the dictator of Italy. He invested in industry and infrastructures. In 1919, in Germany, Hitler joined the anti-Semitic and anti-communist German Workers' Party that soon became the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. With its paramilitary organization, the SA, Hitler tried a coup in 1923, the Munich Putsch. When it failed, he was sent to prison when he wrote the Mein Kampf, where he expressed his political beliefs. The Treaty of Versailles should be rejected. There should be a great Germany for all the Germans. Germany needed more living space. Aryans were a superior race. Jews and Slavs were inferior and should be eliminated. And finally, Jews and communists were responsible of Germany's problems. The Great Depression devastated Germany. Nazis promised people work and bread and strong leadership. Passed from 12 seats in the Reichstag in 1928 to 230 in 1932. In January 1933, the President Hindenburg named Hitler Chancellor. In the elections held in March, the Nazis used various tactics to obtain more votes. They used propaganda, intimidated their opponents, and accused the communists of firing the Reichstag. Since they hadn't the majority, Hitler passed the Enabling Act that allowed him to rule without a parliament and made the other parties illegal. In 1934, in the Night of the Long Knives, Hitler's rivals were eliminated, including the leader of the SA, Ernst Röhm. When Hindenburg died in 1934, Hitler combined the posts of Chancellor and President, making him Führer, leader of the Third Reich. The Nazis carried out infrastructure projects, built up Germany's armed forces, and reduced unemployment. They controlled the propaganda thanks to their minister Goebbels and created a secret police called Gestapo to find the enemies of the party. In 1935, the Nuremberg laws declared Jews non-citizens and banned the relations between Jews and non-Jews. They also discriminated Slavs, homosexuals, gypsies, and disabled people. And that's the end of this video. See you in the next one. Remember to take your Cornell notes and complete your Tiki-Toki timelines. Bye!